A chair is a type of seat typically designed for one person and consisting of one or more legs, a flat or slightly angled seat, and a backrest. They may be made of wood, metal, or synthetic materials and may be padded or upholstered in various colors and fabrics. Chairs vary in design. An armchair has armrests fixed to the seat. A recliner is upholstered and features a mechanism that lowers the chair's back and raises into place a footrest. A rocking chair has legs fixed to two long curved slats. And a wheelchair has wheels fixed to an axis under the seat. Etymology. Chair comes from the early 13th century word chair, from Old French chair, aka chair, seat, throne, from Latin cathedra, seat. History. The chair has been used since antiquity, although for many centuries it was a symbolic article of state and dignity rather than an article for ordinary use. The chair is still used as an emblem of authority in the House of Commons in the United Kingdom and Canada, and in many other settings. In keeping with this historical connotation of the chair as the symbol of authority, committees, boards of directors, and academic departments all have a chairman or chair. Endowed professorships are referred to as chairs. It was not until the 16th century that chairs became common. Until then, people sat on chests, benches, and stools, which were the ordinary seats of everyday life. The number of chairs which have survived from an earlier date is exceedingly limited. Most examples are of ecclesiastical, seigneurial, or feudal origin. Chairs were in existence since at least the early dynastic period of Egypt. They were covered with cloth or leather, were made of carved wood, and were much lower than today's chairs. Chair seats were sometimes only 10 inches, 25 centimeters, high. In ancient Egypt, chairs appear to have been of great richness and splendor. Fashioned of ebony and ivory, or of carved and gilded wood, they were covered with costly materials, magnificent patterns, and supported upon representations of the legs of beasts or the figures of captives. Generally speaking, the higher ranked an individual was, the taller and more sumptuous was the chair he sat on, and the greater the honor. On state occasions, the pharaoh sat on a throne, often with a little footstool in front of it. The average Egyptian family seldom had chairs, and if they did, it was usually only the master of the household who sat on a chair. Among the better off, the chairs might be painted to look like ornate, inlaid, and carved chairs of the rich, but the craftsmanship was usually poor. The earliest images of chairs in China are from 6th century Buddhist murals and stele. The practice of sitting in chairs at that time was rare. It was not until the 12th century that chairs became widespread in China. Scholars disagree on the reasons for the adoption of the chair. The most common theories are that the chair was an outgrowth of indigenous Chinese furniture, that it evolved from a camp stool imported from Central Asia, and that it was introduced to China by Christian missionaries in the 7th century, and that the chair came to China from India as a form of Buddhist monastic furniture. In modern China, unlike Korea or Japan, it is no longer common to sit at floor level. In Europe, it was owing in great measure to the Renaissance that the chair ceased to be a privilege of the state and became a standard item of furniture for anyone who could afford to buy it. Once the idea of privilege faded, the chair speedily came into general use, although at once the chair began to change every few years to reflect the fashions of the day. Thomas Edward Bowdick visited the main palace of the Ashanti Empire in 1819 and observed chairs engrossed with gold in the empire. In the 1880s, chairs became more common in American households, and usually there was a chair provided for every family member to sit down to dinner. By the 1830s, factory manufactured fancy chairs, like those by Sears, Roebuck, & Co., allowed families to purchase machined sets. With the Industrial Revolution, chairs became much more available. The 20th century saw an increasing use of technology in chair construction, with such things as all-metal folding chairs, metal-legged chairs, the slumber chair, molded plastic chairs, and ergonomic chairs. The recliner became a popular form, at least in part due to radio and television. In the 1930s, stair lifts were commercially available to help people suffering from polio and other diseases to navigate stairs. The modern movement of the 1960s produced new forms of chairs: the butterfly chair, originally called the hardware chair, beanbags, and the egg-shaped pod chair that turns. It also introduced the mass-produced plastic chairs such as the Bowfinger chair in 1966. Technological advances led to molded plywood and wood laminate chairs, as well as chairs made of leather or polymers. Mechanical technology incorporated into the chair enabled adjustable chairs, especially for office use. Motors embedded in the chair resulted in massage chairs. Materials. Chairs can be made from wood, metal, or other strong materials, like stone or acrylic. In some cases, multiple materials are used to construct a chair. For example, the legs and frame may be made from metal, and the seat and back may be made from plastic. Chairs may have hard surfaces of wood, metal, plastic, or other materials, or some of all these hard surfaces may be covered with upholstery or padding. The design may be of porous materials or be drilled with holes for decoration. A low back or gaps can provide ventilation. The back may extend above the height of the occupant's head, which can optionally contain a headrest. Chairs can also be made from more creative materials, such as recycled materials like cutlery and wooden clay bricks, pencils, plumbing tubes, rope, corrugated cardboard, and PVC pipe. In rare cases, chairs are made out of unusual materials, especially as a form of art or experimentation. Raimond Cerulis, a Latvian interior designer, created a volcanic hanging chair that is made out of volcanic rock. Peter Brenner, a Dutch-born German designer, has created a chair made from lollipop sugar, 60 pounds of confectioner's sugar. Design and ergonomics. Chair design considers intended usage, ergonomics, how comfortable it is for the occupant, as well as non-ergonomic functional requirements such as size, stackability, folding ability, weight, durability, stain resistance, and artistic design. Seat height. Ergonomic design distributes the weight of the occupant to various parts of the body. It is done by having an easily adjustable seat height. A seat that is higher results in dangling feet and increased pressure on the underside of the knees. It also results in no weight on the feet, which means more weight elsewhere. A lower seat may shift too much weight to the seat bones. Gas springs are attached to the body of the chair in order to give height adjustment and more comfort to the user. Some chairs have footrests. Around 15% of women and 2% of men need footrests, even at the 16-inch chair height. A stool or other simple chair may have a simple straight or curved bar near the bottom for the sitter to place their feet on. Actual chair dimensions are determined by measurements of the human body or anthropomorphic measurements. The two most relevant anthropomorphic measurements for chair design is the popliteal height and buttock popliteal length. For someone seated, the popliteal height is the distance from the underside of the foot to the underside of the thighs at the knees. It is sometimes called the stool height. The term sitting height is reserved for the height to the top of the head when seated. For American men, the median popliteal height is 16.3 inches, and for American women, it is 15 inches. The popliteal height, after adjusting for heels, clothing, and other issues, is used to determine the height of the chair seat. Mass-produced chairs are typically 17 inches high. Researchers such as Mary Blade and Galen Kranz found that sitting on the edge of a high stool with feet on the floor is less harmful for the lower back than sitting up straight on a conventional chair. Reclining angle. Different types of chairs can have a variety of seating positions depending on the intended task. Typically, chairs intended for people completing work or dining can only recline very slightly. Otherwise, the occupant is too far away from the desk or table. Dental chairs are necessarily reclined. Research has shown that the best seated posture is a reclined posture of 100 degrees to 110 degrees. In order to recline, the backrest may be independently adjustable. A reclining seat and back will reduce the load on the occupant's back muscles. In general, if the occupant is supposed to sit for a long time, weight needs to be taken off of the seat, and thus easy chairs intended for long periods of sitting are generally at least slightly reclined. The back of the chair will support some of the weight of the occupant, reducing the weight on other parts of the body. Some backrests support only the lumbar region, while shoulder-height backrests support the entire back and shoulders. Headrests support the head as well and are important in vehicles for preventing whiplash neck injuries in near-end collisions where the head is jerked back suddenly. Reclining chairs typically have at least shoulder-height backrests to shift weight to the shoulders. Padding. There may be cases where padding is not desirable, such as chairs that are intended primarily for outdoor use, where padding is not desirable. Contouring may be used instead. A contoured seat pan attempts to distribute weight without padding by matching the shape of the occupant's buttocks. Weight is distributed and maximum pressure is reduced. Armrests. A chair may or may not have armrests. Chairs with armrests are termed armchairs. In French, a distinction is made between fauteuil and chaise, the terms for chairs with and without armrests, respectively. In Germany, an armchair was once called a Krankensessel, or sick chair, because it was intended for people who were too ill to sit or stand for that extra support. If present, armrests will support part of the body weight through the arms if the arms are resting on the armrests. Elbow rest height is used to determine the height of the armrests. Armrests should support the forearm and not the sensitive elbow area. Hence, in some chair designs, the armrest is not continuous to the chair back, but is missing in the elbow area. Armrests further have the function of making entry and exit from the chair easier, but from the side it becomes more difficult. Seat size and leg room. For someone seated, the buttock popliteal length is the horizontal distance from the backmost part of the buttocks to the back of the lower leg. This anthropomorphic measurement is used to determine the seat depth. Mass-produced chairs are typically 15 to 17 inches deep. Additional anthropometric measurements may be relevant to designing a chair. Hip breadth is used for chair width and armrest width. The buttock and knee length is used to determine leg room between rows of chairs. Seat pitch is the distance between rows of seats. In some airplanes and stadiums, the leg room, the seat pitch less the thickness of the seat at thigh level is so small that it's sometimes insufficient for the average person. Types of chairs. A wide variety of chairs have emerged throughout the ages, some based on formal usages and others based on domestic needs, and some based on needs within the workplace or various professions. Office chair. An office chair is one used by employees within an office. Modern office chairs are usually adjustable and wheeled. Caster wheels are attached to the feet of chairs to give more mobility. Dining room chair. A dining room chair is a specific type of design used around a dining room table. It can be found in most ordinary residential homes and also may appear in formal settings, such as any formal event or reception that includes a formal meal or banquet. Work chair. A work chair is a specialized chair adapted to the needs of a particular profession or setting. For example, a designing chair will be used for designers who sit at high easels, who usually have added height. Rocking chair. Some chairs have two curved bands of wood, also known as rockers, attached to the bottom of the legs. They're called rocking chairs. Kneeling chair. A kneeling chair adds an additional body part, the knees, to support the weight of the body. A stand chair distributes most of the weight of the occupant to the feet. Many chairs are padded or have cushions. Padding can be on the seat of the chair only, on the seat and back, or also on any armrest or footrest the chair may have. Padding will not shift the weight to different parts of the body unless the chair is so soft that the shape is altered. However, padding does distribute the weight by increasing the area of contrast between the chair and their body, and thus reducing the amount of pressure at any given point. By contrast, a hardwood chair feels hard because the contact point between the occupant and the chair is small. In lieu of padding, flexible materials such as wicker may be used instead with similar effects of distributing weight. Seats. Chair seats vary widely in construction and may or may not match construction of the chair's back. Some systems include center seats, where a solid material forms the chair seat, such as solid wood, wood slats, padded leather, stuffed fabric, metal seats of solid or open design, molded plastic or stone, sometimes marble even. Open center seats, where a soft material is attached to the tops of chair legs or between stretchers to form the seat. Wicker. These are usually made of wicker, leather, fabric, tape, caning, rush, reed, rawhide, splint, or metal. Standards and specifications. Design considerations for chairs have been codified into standards. ISO 9241. Ergonomic requirements for office work with visual display terminals, VDTs. Part 5, workstation layout and postural requirements, is the most common one for modern chair design. There are multiple specific standards for different types of chairs. Dental chairs are specified by ISO 6875. Beanbag chairs are specified by ANSI standard ASTM F 1912-98. ISO 7174 specifies stability of rocking and tilting chairs. ASTM F 1858-98 specifies plastic lawn chairs. ASTM E 1822-02B defines the combustibility of chairs when they are stacked. The Business and Institutional Furniture Manufacturers Association defines ANSI/BIFMA X 5.1, titled General Purpose Office Chairs, for testing of commercial grade chairs. It requires chair back strength of 150 pounds, chair stability if weight is transferred completely to the front or back legs, leg strength of 75 pounds, applied 1 inch from the bottom of the leg, seat strength of 225 pounds, dropped from 6 inches above the seat, seat cycle strength of 100,000 repetitions of 125 pounds, dropped from 2 inches above the seat. The specification further defines heavier proof loads that the chair must withstand. Under these higher loads, the chair may be damaged, but it must not fail catastrophically. Large institutions that make bulk purchases will reference these standards within their own even more detailed criteria for purchase. Governments will often issue standards for purchases by government agencies, e.g. Canada's Canadian General Standards Board, CAN-CGSSB 4415M, on straight stacking chair steel, or Canada CGSB 44232-2002, on task chairs for office work and visual display terminal. Chairs may be rated by the length of time that they may be used comfortably, an 8-hour chair, a 24-hour chair, and so on. Such chairs are specified for tasks which require extended periods of sitting, such as receptionist or supervision of a control panel. Accessories. In place, a built-in footrest. Some chairs come with a matching ottoman. An ottoman is a short stool that is intended to be used as a footrest, but can sometimes be used as a stool. If matched to a glider chariot, the ottoman may be mounted on swing arms so that the ottoman rocks back and forth with the main glider. A chair cover is a temporary fabric for a side chair. They are typically rented for formal events, such as wedding receptions, to increase the attractiveness of the chairs and decor. The chair covers may come with decorative chair ties, a ribbon to be tied as a bow behind the chair. Covers for sofas and couches are also available for homes with small children and pets. In the second half of the 20th century, some people used custom clear plastic covers for expensive sofas and chairs to protect them. Chair pads are cushions for chairs. They contain cotton or foam for padding. Some are decorative. In cars, they may be used to increase the height of the driver. Orthopedic backrests provide support for the back. Car seals sometimes have built-in and adjustable lumbar supports. These can also be used on kitchen chairs. Chair mats. Arm mats meant to cover different types of flooring. They are usually made from plastic. This allows chairs on wheels to roll easily over the carpet and protects the carpet floor. They come in various shapes, some specifically sized to fit partially under a desk. Remote control bags can be draped over the arm of easy chairs or sofas and used to hold remote controls for home cinema. They are counterweighted so as not to slide off the arms of the underweight remote controls. Chair glides are attached to the feet of chairs to prevent them from scratching or snagging on the floor. An antimacassar is a cloth covering for a headed priest. I protected the fabric and enabled easy washing. It has sculptural and art forms. The broken chair is a monumental sculpture in wood, constructed of 5.5 tons of wood, 12 meters high, standing across the street from the Palace of Nations in Geneva. It has broken legs, symbolizing opposition to landmines and cluster bombs in 2001. Steve Mann exhibited a chair sculpture at San Francisco Art Institute. The chair had spikes that retracted when a credit card was inserted to download a seating license. Later, other museums and galleries were equipped with the pay-to-sit chair, with a global central seating license server located in Toronto. The first sitting session was fine, The first sitting session was free, with a database of persons who had already used their free session. In a performance piece at the 2012 Republican National Convention, Clint Eastwood addressed an empty chair as if it represented President Barack Obama, meant to be construed as MIA or ineffectual. The address was controversial, with critics describing it as bizarre and supporters describing it as poignant. Japanese designer Tokujin Yoshioka has created several chairs as art forms such as Honey Pop, Honeycomb Paper Chair, Panay Chair, Natural Fiber Chair, and Venus, Natural Crystal Chair. New York industrial designer Ian Stelly creates steel and wood kinetic sculptures that transform into chairs, including Roll Bottom Chair that turns into a secretariat desk and Loop that transforms into two interlocking chairs when expanded. Cultural significance. In Welsh culture, an Eisteddfod is a festival with several ranked competitions, including in poetry and music. The term Eisteddfod is formed from two Welsh morphemes, Eistedd, meaning sit, and fod, meaning be. Means, according to Hywel Tiefley Edwards, sitting together. Edward further defines the earliest form of the Eisteddfod as a competitive meeting between bards and minstrels, in which the winner was chosen by a noble or royal patron. In language, if someone nearly fell off their chair after being informed about something, it was because they were very shocked or surprised. An orchestra awards the best player in a particular section a chair or principal seat based on ability. The first chair of the section plays the solos, and in string sections determines the bowings. In professional orchestras, the first chair player receives higher pay. It is also common for the position to be known as first stand, a reference to the portable lectern on which the musicians put their sheet music. However, the person who is first chair in the first violin section is usually referred to as the concert master in the US or leader in the UK. In academia, an endowed chair is a prestigious appointment for a professor, paid for by a dedicated funding source. A chair is the highest offer of an organized group, such as the chair of the board, the head of the board of directors in a company or nonprofit organization. Musical chairs is a common party game and a colloquial expression to describe people shuffling from seat to seat, around different locations, or from one job title to another. In American slang, to say someone will get the chair is to say they will be executed by an electric chair. Alternatively, it can be a metaphor to other harsh punishment. See also, list of chairs for extended list types, such as the lift chair, Papasan chair, and the swivel chair. Chair pose, chair squat, riding like sitting, seating assignment, and splat furniture, the central vertical element of a wooden chair back. I hope that put you to sleep, because it just about did me. Sleep well, and good night.